All right, let's talk about one of AI's weirdest and most challenging problems, hallucination. You know, that bizarre moment when a chatbot just confidently makes things up out of thin air. Today, we're going to dig into why this happens, and more importantly, the really smart strategies being used to fix it. Let's get right into it.
I bet you've seen this. You ask a chatbot a pretty straightforward question, and it comes back with this perfectly worded, super confident answer that is just completely wrong. It might invent a scientific study that doesn't exist or tell you about a historical event that never ever happened. This is AI hallucination, and it's a massive roadblock to building real trust in these incredibly powerful tools.
Okay, so what exactly are we talking about here? Let's pin down the official term. LLM hallucination is when these models give you answers that sound great. They're fluent, they're grammatically perfect, but they're just factually incorrect or totally disconnected from reality. And the keyword here is confident. The model has no idea it's lying. It's just doing its job, predicting the next most likely word in a sentence.
And you know, this problem comes in a few different flavors. You've got the really obvious ones, where it fabricates facts wholesale, but it can also be more subtle, like just getting a date wrong or mixing up some figures. Sometimes it'll even contradict something you literally just told it in the prompt. And forced hallucination, that's what happens when you push a model past what it knows, and instead of just saying, "I don't know," it panics and makes something up.
So that's what these confident lies look like out in the wild.
But the big question is, why? Why do these incredibly advanced machines just make things up? Let's pop the hood and get to the core reasons this happens in the first place. Okay, this right here is the heart of the issue. Large language models are not trained to be truthful. They are trained to be plausible. Their entire purpose is to predict the next word that makes the most sense in a sentence. And sometimes, a fluent, believable lie is, statistically, a more probable output for the model than a simple, honest, "I don't have that information." Think of it like this. You're a student taking a test where you don't lose points for wrong answers, but you get points if you're right. When you hit a question you don't know, what are you going to do? You're going to guess. LLMs are trained in a very similar way. They get rewarded for providing an answer, any answer. So it's often a better strategy for them to take a wild guess than to say nothing at all.
And this is absolutely critical. Unlike us, these models have zero real-world experience. They've never stubbed a toe, they've never seen the color blue, they have no common sense built from living a life. All they know is the data they were trained on, which is just a static, unchanging snapshot of the past.
And of course, a few other things make the problem worse. If the data the model was trained on is full of mistakes or biases, well, garbage in, garbage out. The model learns those same mistakes. And if you, the user, give it a really vague prompt, you're pretty much just inviting the model to fill in the blanks, and it might just fill them in with nonsense.
So that's the problem, and yeah, it can seem pretty daunting. But the good news is, we're not helpless. The solution isn't some single magic bullet. It's more like a smart, four-layered defense system. So let's jump into the fixes that AI builders and product managers are using right now.
First up, and this is the big one, is a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. It's brilliant. Instead of letting the model answer from its vast but static memory, the system first goes out and retrieves up-to-date, relevant info from a source you trust, like your company's internal wiki. Then it hands that verified info to the LLM and says, "Okay, build your answer using only this." It basically tethers the model to reality. How you ask the question also makes a huge difference. Just look at the comparison here. A vague prompt like "summarize the report" is an open invitation for the model to guess what you want. But a precise, step-by-step prompt, this is a technique called chain of thought, it forces the model to think logically. You're giving it a roadmap to the right answer, which dramatically cuts down the chances of it getting lost. We can also get our hands on the model's controls. Think of this temperature setting as a creativity dial. If you crank it up high, you get wild, inventive, and sometimes poetic responses. But for applications where you need facts, you turn that dial way, way down. A low temperature makes the model's output much more focused and deterministic, forcing it to stick to the safest, most probable, and usually most factual answers. And finally, we have our last line of defense, the safety net. This can be all sorts of things. You can have a second critic AI whose only job is to check the first AI's work. For really high-stakes stuff like medicine or finance, you bring in a human expert to review the outputs. Or you can even build hard-coded rules into the system that stop the AI from ever saying something that's strictly forbidden. Okay, so we've looked at the problem and the techie fixes, but how does all of this actually come together when you're trying to build a real-world product? Well, that brings us to our final section,
the AI Product Manager's Playbook.
And here's the big takeaway, the one thing to remember from all of this. Tackling hallucinations isn't just some cleanup task you hand off to the engineers. No way. It is a fundamental core product strategy. If you want to build an AI product that people trust and rely on, you have to design your entire system to manage this behavior from day one.
You see, mastering these strategies, from RAG and prompt engineering all the way to governance and guardrails, that's what separates a good AI product manager from a truly great one. What you're seeing here is a little peek into the AI Product Management Playbook by Deepak Dio, which is essentially a framework for navigating exactly these kinds of challenges across the entire AI product lifecycle. So, if you're an AI product leader or you're hoping to become one, here's your call to action. By joining the playbook, you'll get the absolute latest strategies on building AI people can trust and leading effective product teams, sent right to you. It's a fantastic way to connect with a whole network of peers who are out there building the future of this field. Thanks for tuning in.